Hey guys.
She'll be relaying any questions or answering any questions as always. Yeah, how you guys doing tonight? We're going to be working on this pre-flaked motorcycle tank panel that we have. These should already be on Amazon, and you'll find these on Shopify and whatnot. These come with a roll of tape and aluminum, lightweight, great for practicing like we're doing here, or just painting some stuff up to show as your artwork and whatnot to potential customers. But it's great for that reason. But tonight we're going to use that. This has been flaked with the LiME silver metal flake out of the aerosol can. If you want to watch that, actually, I think a couple weeks back on the Thursday Night Live, we did do the metal flake out of the can, and then we cleared it with the double shot clear coat in the spray can as well. So that's what we're working on here tonight. We will be doing a portrait. This is the exact size we're actually going to be using, but we have Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer, kind of a tribute piece we'll be doing here. So that's what we're going to be using right there. This particular image. I've pre-cut out a stencil, so you can see here that this paper stencil has basically all I did was just cut out the dark areas, and anywhere where it was going to, like, I could have cut out the whole mustache, but then I would have had an extra piece here that I would have had to deal with. So what I did is I kind of kept it all together. So cutting out all of the dark spots in the eyes and everything while still trying to keep it all together. So if we look at on the back side here, that's kind of what we're looking at, just kind of a rough guide that we're going to be using. We'll be using black base coat and a mixture of black candy as well to do some of the shading. We'll be doing some techniques with the electric eraser, and I do have a fiberglass pin that we might use. I'll see how it kind of works, and it all kind of depends on the project whether we use this kind of eraser, or we can also scratch back the highlights as well with a razor blade or X-Acto blade like this. So we'll be doing a few of those techniques, see what we can make work tonight. To be honest with you, I haven't really done a whole lot of metal flaked murals. This is probably one of only a very few that I've done. So it's kind of new to me too. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how it comes together. But we're going to do our best, and hopefully we'll both learn something tonight. And yeah, I have high hopes this is going to turn out good. And first things first, this has been clear coated. So anything clear coated, we need to sand it, clean it, and it needs to be a smooth surface in order for our paint to stick. Paint doesn't stick straight to clear coat. We need to make sure that it's sanded smooth and it has a little bit of a tooth, an etch, if you will, so the paint has something to stick to. So we'll go ahead and keep our stencil all together, put that off to the side, and we'll get this thing scuffed down real quick. You can see when you scuff it down, it loses its shine, which is fine, because once it's clear coated again, that shine's going to come right back. Just knocking down all of the gloss off of this. We also, if you want to hit LiME, hashtag LiME into the comments, we have some new products that's going to be coming out next week. And you'll have a chance to be able to win it before you can even buy it. I'll show you those here in just a second. Let me get this edge done a little bit. Okay, let's check that out. You can see how that shine comes right back once you hit it with some glass cleaner. This is just a panel prep. Okay, you can see how that the gloss is gone. As it used to be shiny, Now we've kind of knocked it all down. That's going to be a great surface for our paint to stick to, and that's exactly what we need. Okay, let's go ahead and get a visual here of how we're going to lay this thing out. I was imagining right here because I wanted to make sure I got his little, I think it's a gun holster right here.
Someone asked, do you get every little bit of orange peel off, or can you leave small dots?
You can leave the small dots. Yep, great question. You can see right here that there's a little, let's see, like kind of in the edge right here, you can see where there's just a few little dots here that are still a little shiny. And those are going to be okay. As long as it's not a bunch, you shouldn't have a problem. The flatter it is, the better your tape's going to stick. But really, we're not taping too much out on this thing. Most of it's just going to be stenciled out. So I think we're going to go somewhere like right about there, I'm thinking. So it's kind of give me a visual of where it's going to go. And then we're going to do some other kind of background here. We'll kind of figure that out as we go. We do have some new stencils that we're going to be giving away tonight. I'll show you those, and we may be using one of these too as a background. So we have this new stencil set out that's going to be coming out. We have these all named. Can you remember what these are?
I haven't written down, but
you have written down
right now.
Yeah. So there's actually names for a lot of these patterns. You can just see that one's kind of like a. I thought I had them all memorized. It was a floral pattern. We have like a star pattern there. 80s like square pattern. It's kind of hard to see when you're looking through all of them, but Gothic kind of style. Got a lattice, and then like a flower one there too. But we'll use one of these. Well, I'm thinking about maybe actually using this one. I feel like that'd be a nice background on both sides here and there, and the mural will actually take care of the rest. So maybe that's the one I'd probably pick. But if there's something that you guys would want to see, we can definitely test it out.
Someone was asking, Brown was asking where he could find the replacement pads for the spinners. He said he couldn't find them.
Oh, you should be able to see them on Shopify. If you can't find them there, Brown, just send me a message on Instagram, and we'll get you taken care of.
Spinner?
They should be under the spinners, yeah.
As like a variation, maybe?
It could be a variation, yes. You just might have to click on the spinner. That could be the reason. Okay, another thing we do have coming out, and I'm actually going to be using this tonight, is we do have some new removable stencil vinyl coming out. This is nice thing is it's 13 inches wide, so this is going to go straight into the Cricut cutter, the Maker 3, Cricut Maker 3, right into there without a backing board. So this is 13 inches. Same thing you would buy from Cricut, but this is a removable vinyl that we've tested, and we'll be testing it again tonight and make sure everything's good with it. As you know, the last vinyl that we launched ended up having some residue issues. We since pulled that off the shelf, and that was about a year ago, wasn't it, babe?
Yeah,
about a year ago. Yeah, but now we finally found a good replacement. 13 inches is great. This is going to go right into the Cricut Maker, like I said, without a backing, without that backing pad. So we have that. We also have the transfer tape that goes with it. So we do have clear transfer tape. So we're going to be able to take our logos and whatnot, pull them off of here, and then be able to lay them straight down onto the surface. Being able to see through it has the grid on there as well. So being able to get things straight. Man, if I would have had this last week on that, or 2 weeks ago on that Transformers logo, it probably would have been straight. But yeah, having these lines, it's going to be very nice. So I felt like it's going to clean up my work, and we're able to offer some new stuff to you guys that hopefully is going to help you out, just like it's helping me out. So basically, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find great manufacturers that are going to produce us the quality and the materials that we want and that we need, and make sure they're good and they work great. And if I like them, I'm sure you're going to like them too. So give these a shot. These will be coming out too. And also hashtag LiME into the comments. The final winner will win this set right here, transfer tape and the removable vinyl. And the first winner will be given away midway, will win the stencil set we just showed. So okay, good luck to that.
Somebody asked what setting do they set that for on the Cricut?
You would just find a you would go to the smart vinyl, the Cricut smart vinyl, removable vinyl, and then just click that one. But a lot of them actually will work. You don't necessarily need, but it does kind of change the pressure of how much pressure that blade is pushing down. So I think you can actually go in there and hit less or more, changing the tension. And I think I actually just had it on the standard. So you might have to play with it a little bit, but the removable vinyl, smart vinyl, is the one you're going to want to pick. Okay, about right there. That's what we're going to do. We're going to grab some of the vinyl we just talked about, and let's cut us off a piece here. I'm going to be wide enough that way. Oh, that'll work. I can probably work with that.
On the can of the spray metal flake, is it able to be combined with the other normal line products, or only able to be used with other spray can products?
Nope. You can, what you're getting in the can is basically the same thing you would mix up. Same thing you'd mix up in our other products. So if you wanted to use so we have black base coat coming out in this aerosol can too. That's going to be the same thing as spraying out black base coat out of your gun. It's not a 2-part component. It's just a 1-part base coat. Same thing with the metal flake. It's clear base coat mixed with metal flake. That can go straight on. You're not going to have any problems with any kind of like blistering or cracking or any kind of burning it up as you would like regular spray paint. It doesn't have the clear coat in it like regular spray paint has. So it's all compatible, just like it normally would be. So you can bounce back and forth. If you wanted to flake something and you found that it was just easier just to grab a silver metal flake can and do it that way, that would work just fine. Same thing with black base coat. You just have a small project, you'd rather just hit it with black base coat out of a spray can rather than mixing up, putting it in your gun and have to clean it up. That's fine. That's all good. In fact, that's what I do as well sometimes. I feel like it's sometimes just so much faster just to be able to grab your spray can real quick and then get the job done. Okay, let's pull this backing off, and basically I'm just going to...
Will you have the vinyl and the transfer tape as a package?
Yes, that is going to be a package. You'll be able to buy them separately or as a package. And like I said, the best prices on our stuff you're going to get is right when we launch them. We're very, very competitive with our prices when it first comes out, and we're going to make sure that we get these in your hands so you can try it. Okay, there's some air bubbles in there, no big deal, because we're just kind of using this as a temporary mask for a second, so we can lay down our stencil. We're gonna want it like right there. I think we'll shoot for somewhere like right there. Want to make sure we get the top of his head. Yeah, okay. All right, so I have my airbrush here, and all we're gonna do is kind of go through the edges. We're not spraying anything in the stencil, just around the edges to get the form of the stencil. So we're just going to kind of get it in the exact spot where we need it. Okay. Let's go right there. It's just a black base coat. You can use any color. We're just using this as a guide.
Do you know when the vinyl will be released?
The vinyl, it'll be available this weekend, so you can keep an eye out on that. Okay, you see, I just kind of got the outside done. So I'm going to take my X-Acto blade. And I'm just going to follow the outside line there. Same here on this side. This is, we can make sure that we have a nice crisp line. If you've seen me in my other murals that I do like this, I usually don't usually cut out this outer stencil. But since we're doing it on Flake, and we need to be careful about the overspray, we can't necessarily just drown this thing in paint. We have to make sure that we put the paint just where we need it. Because really we want that sparkle to show through. And not drowned it out. Okay, I think we're good there. Now I'm going to take...
What's the spray pattern like with your spray cans? Because I find most spray cans have terrible spray pattern.
Yeah, so the spray pattern is, we have, for the clear coats, we have an adjustable tip. So you can get a spray pattern of what a normal gun would have, like a long spray pattern. For the base coats, we are, those aren't launched yet because we're still working on finding the right tip for the base coats that's going to work the best. I have found, actually today I was, I think I nailed down the one that we're going to use, but it's a very fine mist. That's kind of what we're looking at for the base coats. For when it comes to Metal Flake, we're just looking something with just a nozzle that's not going to get clogged, because really that stuff can go on thicker, but when it comes to base coats and candies, it needs to be sprayed thin and fine in order to get those blends. We can just rip that out. There we go. So basically I'm just pulling this up. Let's cut this right here too. Just exposing where we're going to be painting, and we're I think this is all going. Yep, this is all going to go. Okay, perfect. And maybe right here, nice thing, no residue. No residue at all. So this is all the residue, all the stickiness is staying on the vinyl as it should. Okay. Flip that guy around. There we go. Okay, so we got a nice solid edge right there. So all the overspray will be caught by this edge. So we're going to get a nice clean line there and there. Even if I was to use a stencil, a paper stencil right here, you still wouldn't get as sharp of a line as you would if you're using vinyl like this that's stuck to the surface. We're going to get a nice hard line. We'll smooth it out, probably do a background, but but we want these edges to be super light, and we want to find the darks and the lights are basically going to be everything that we have here. So there's no white, nothing like that. We're using just straight black base coat and transparent candy black as well to be able to do some of that shading. So we'll check this out, make sure it all lines up correctly. Looks good.
A couple people earlier said that was their favorite role that he played.
Well, me too. Yeah, he's actually one of my favorite actors for sure. Yeah, I mean, also in Top Gun, Iceman. I mean, it's so great.
Also, someone said, will that yellow from the Transformers hood be available?
The yellow color, yes, all the yellow colors will be available once we get those caps in and we get that all nailed out and figured out what exactly we're going to offer with that. Okay, let me go ahead and tape this sucker down. Grab a roll of tape. Get it lined up.
Someone said, I didn't even know it was Val Kilmer. Oh my heck. I'm so tired. I'm sorry. I didn't even know it was Val Kilmer. I don't know how I missed it all these years.
Oh, you did it? Oh. Yeah, that was probably his greatest role. I think that's what most people know him as.
Someone said Iceman all day.
Iceman is awesome. Yeah, but I think my favorite is the Doc Holliday.
Somebody said real genius.
Me or Doc Holliday?
No, real genius. I think it's a movie he was in.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I don't think I've seen that. Okay, same black base coat that we used here to edge it out. So we're just gonna start with black, and then we'll end up moving to a transparent black, a candy black. But we want to make sure we get all these areas nailed down that are going to be nice and dark, and then we'll go ahead and use freehand techniques to be able to shade everything and pull those highlights back.
Someone also said Willow, and I freaking love that movie, Willow. And I didn't know he was in it, but now that I think about it, I think I gotta look it up. But I love that movie, Willow. You remember that show?
The
little dwarf Willow.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do actually.
Oh my gosh, I love that show when I was little.
I'm not gonna go too crazy. I just want to make sure we get those in there, but we can always darken it up more later.
He just had so many great roles.
Yeah, great actor. I feel like you can put him up there with, you know, Tom Hanks and A-list celebrity, right?
Yeah, he's good.
Get the earlobe in here. Once again, all I did was cut out all the dark areas. I did cut out the light areas on this because I'm just going to lightly kind of go over it.
Someone said he also played Jim Morrison in The Doors.
He did?
He played a lot. Someone said The Saint, Top Secret. He played a lot. Underheart. Someone said he played Jim Morrison perfectly.
Huh, interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this up and we'll paint his mustache in. Would you say Billy the Kid? I think that's somebody else. Billy the Kid was played by what's his name? Kid that played on The Breakfast Club. Somebody will say it.
Someone said he also learned to sing for the Jim Morrison role, and it was really him singing in that movie.
Wow.
Dang, we'll have to watch that. Oh, it was Emilio Estevez.
Emilio Estevez. Yeah, that's right.
What airbrush are you using?
I'm just using the Avante at Harbor Freight. You can get these for like 25 bucks. I don't know. I don't think I've actually seen that either.
You didn't see Weird Science?
Uh-uh.
Oh my gosh.
I think I've seen parts of it. Is that the one with the girl in it that they made a robot or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it all.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good show.
Okay. Let's check that out. I think I got everything where it needs to be. Maybe a little bit more. This whole eyebrow needs to kind of come up and out. I think I have that detached maybe. Let's go ahead. There we go. Cut and release that so we can kind of pull that back and get
Heat, they said that, which I don't.
Oh, Heat is a great show. I forgot he was in that.
I don't remember that.
The battles, like the firefights that they had, the best. There's a bank robbery show. And I can't remember. I think he played on I think he was one of the robbers. But yeah, Heat is unreal. Like, that was such a cool show. Okay, let's check that out. Let's see where we're at. Okay, we're getting there.
He definitely played a lot of good roles.
That's for sure.
He definitely wasn't A-lister. He was a great actor.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this airbrush off to the side. I need to trim this up just a little bit. So I do want to take this. Well, actually, the hat. Let me check my reference here. You should really always have your reference kind of available. Okay, so right here you can see that's where the hat stops and his hair's back here. So we want to make sure we get his hair in there and not just blend that in with the hat. So I'm going to take that right there. We're going to release that and then check that out. This will kind of come down to that. Trim this up right here. So now we can start to cut our stencil into pieces now that we've kind of have it all laid out. This is the other part of the hat right here. Okay. Okay, so we took the hat part out. We'll go ahead and we'll keep that. Don't want to get rid of anything. We can always go back and refer to the stencil to be able to make adjustments and be able to fix and crispen up some of our lines. Okay, looking good, looking good. So we'll line that back up there. And we'll start to fill in his hat because it is the darkest area. I'm still with the black base coat because I do want this to be fairly dark. When I start to do some of the shading in the face, that's when I'll switch to the transparent black. As you see, I'm just going to, not trying to get it all filled in at once. Build it up a little bit at a time. Same thing here. Make sure that's lined up good. All this is going to be a hat. We're not really looking for full coverage here. We're just looking for a really good, a nice contrast. And as you can see, my brush strokes are going, they're going like the same way like the hat would go, like if that makes sense. Like you wouldn't go up and down right here. You're going to want to kind of follow, you know, what the shape of the hat, you know, so you wouldn't really want to fill it in like this. You're going to want to fill it in like that way. We want to make sure we have nice, good contrast. So we need this to be the darkest area. Okay, let's see how that looks. Oh, okay, looking better. Okay, that's looking good. Maybe get a little more into here, darken this up a little bit more. Okay, not bad. Double check everything. Looks like this eyebrow, we can pull this back a little bit. Maybe get a little bit more of that eyebrow. Let's grab this. Grab our reference. We'll just kind of keep it right here so we can keep an eye on it. So his eyebrow, if you look right here, yeah, we got a pretty hard line right there. So I'll go ahead and paint that in. Make sure we're lined up. No, we don't want it as dark as what we have over there. And then this one we can probably, this one I think we're okay. We might just grab a stencil and maybe paint that in right there. Let's do that. We'll grab the stencil.
Brian's on the line and said, "What's up?"
Oh, Brian Lindley? Hey, what's up, man? Brian was with us at Autorama a few weeks back. I can't find my... Yeah, Brian Lindley was with us a couple weeks back. We were at the Autorama. Fantastic artist. Okay, let's see. We got this. So you can see this is actually one of the freehand stencils that I really like. So you can always just use any one of these curves. So if I want to kind of come in here and see, since this is the exact size, I can kind of come in here and see like, look at that one right there. That one kind of matches up right there. So we can just use that as our stencil shield. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of bring that up into there. Maybe right there. Kind of bring in that eyebrow as well. Just give it a hard line. Back at the reference here, and then we can go ahead and, so you see right here, there's a little bit of a, what I'm seeing here on that is like the same thing as what we got here. So I'm starting to put some of the hard lines that we have in right now, and then I'll freehand in over them so it makes them not as noticeable. But I like to put those in first and get an idea of where that's going to be at. That's pretty close right there. See how that's just kind of giving it just a little bit darker right there. Just a little bit of a shadow. Now, I think this might be a mistake on the printer's part. You see how that kind of goes right through. You can see it kind of goes through the background too. I'm not going to worry too much about that particular highlight, but these highlights around the nose, up the upper lip, all those, and then all this down here, that's pretty loose. So pretty much don't need any stencils there. Trying to look to see kind of right here. There's a couple of lines we can kind of mimic, but let's go ahead, and what we'll do is we'll kind of detach the chin too, because really the chin is right here is a separate overlapping image on top. The neck kind of comes up underneath it, so we're able to maybe trim this up a little bit more and then cut this into a piece and be able to use the actual paper stencil there to make the bottom of his chin, because you can see we have things kind of coming together here, but no chin. We just have one big neck. So we'll go ahead and get that chiseled out. So let's see if we can just we'll take this and just kind of bring it down into there. You know, a lot of this we may not paint all this because really we don't want to paint lines that we don't see. But we do want it. We do want to make sure we have it right here and right here, and then that can be more of a freehand blend. But you can see here it's a little more hard lined. Right here it's more hard lined as well. And then we're just going to go ahead and break that off because it's almost there anyways. Okay, let's line this up. Just like that. The interesting thing here is if you look, the shadow is actually on the bottom of the chin there. So I will actually, I'll probably go ahead and paint that in right there. We'll go ahead and put the shadow on the bottom of the chin like it shows there. Usually that's not something I think that's normal, but like I said, I want to paint what I see, not what I know. And then it will actually go that in there and then come back. Get it lined up in the right spot. There we go. Right there. It's a little bit darker right here. Okay, there we go. His chin's starting to make a little more sense there. Let's see if there's any other hard lines that we can kind of point out. Oh, we got that hard line there. We could use a little one right here by the nose. Grab our stencil and see. Which one kind of lines up. That one does pretty good right there. right there. And really, I'm just kind of guessing. Oh. Nothing too crazy, just a little bit of a hard line right there. So we can kind of see where things are going together. All of this in here needs to be darkened up. Make sure we're going to keep the lightest area up here on the top of the eyelid. You can see the highlights there. So really, it's all about what we're not going to paint, not what we are going to paint. We want to make sure we leave nice, clean highlights everywhere. All right, we're going to go ahead and I'll just go ahead and fade lightly with the black. I'll probably put just a little more reducer in this, and we'll go ahead and start our first round of kind of shading, and then we can pull some of that back by methods of an eraser or like scratching it back like I talked about earlier. Put a little more reducer in this guy. Okay, more reducer in this is going to allow the paint to blend out smoother. You can see how that's, no, you can't see actually. Oh, so you can see how that's and what we had earlier and what we have now. All I did was put a little bit of reducer in it. A little bit more reducer in it. Okay, what I'm going to do here is just kind of look at the, go ahead and fold this in because we don't need all that right there. Oh, before I go too far, actually, I need to get the bottom and top of this belt too. I can probably do that by, there we go. I'll just kind of release that. Let me get that in there. All right, we back?
Yeah, you're sideways though.
There we go. Yeah, we had an amber alert. Oh, that was weird. That was just a test, though. Have you been getting those all day?
No.
Oh, I have been.
You dripped on your picture.
Where?
The paper.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Where?
I'm just glad it's not on my painting.
Oh gosh, I'm half asleep and I saw it.
Oh, do you know what? I put that in the wrong damn spot. What the hell am I doing? All right, let's make this right. Yeah, somehow I lined that stencil up wrong. Just gonna build this up, and we can pull back these highlights that are right here in his, looks like in his holster. There we go. That's better. I thought that looked a little weird. Man, I'm gonna have to erase back some of that though.
Whoops, maybe you fell asleep.
Yeah. Okay. Let's make sure we're spraying okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and just go with the kind of go with what I see here and kind of fill everything in. Make sure I'm not gonna drip on my painting. Came out of the lid a little bit. I'm going to turn down my air pressure just a tad bit too. I'm running a lower air pressure. That way I have more control, finer lines. And basically what I'm going to do here is just, I don't want to lose this, blow it away. Just going to paint what you see here. Just really light. So we're all kind of shadowed around that nose right there. Into the eyebrow, you can see that. So we're just going to lightly start to bring that down in and just do that blend right there. We're just matching up with what we see. Same thing here. This eyebrow kind of comes down into a shadow into here. Just kind of working it in. It's all shadowed here. It's a little bit darker right here, as you can see. That eye kind of comes down right there. We want to leave this, obviously this right here, as light as possible. And then we'll paint in this pupil here. Finish that line. Kind of darken that up just a little bit. We can pull back and add some detail with a razor blade on with that here in a second. And this method is quite a bit different than what I'm used to doing. Usually I would paint this with opaque paints. And I'd use grays and I'd use black and white to make a bunch of different gray tones. And basically it'd be a lot more painting than what I'm doing now. Really, we're just trying to be really gentle. There's really no back and forth. We're just trying to lay down the shadows and that's it. The only thing we're going to do to pull back those highlights is by scraping it or by using our electric eraser. Sorry about that. This eyebrow you can see comes all the way to the edge. It does get a little bit thicker right there. Let's go up a little more. And just like an eyebrow would, it's going to have, you know, a little bit of texture like hair, but we'll scratch some of that back. You can see I'm still able to get pretty fine lines with this Harbor Freight airbrush. It's really all about how you mix your paint. You can see also when I'm pushing down on air and pulling back for fluid, I'm constantly rocking on the trigger. Just trying to add just a little bit, just like this. You see, that's what I'm doing, is little tiny dagger strokes and following what we got going on here. So you can see I kind of already have the stencil that made out this line right here, the wrinkles underneath his eyes. And we're just going to kind of use that as a guide and try to mimic exactly what we see. But we don't want to paint. You don't want to paint too much. We're not trying to capture all the details. See right there, that would be a nice spot right there to use a stencil. So I don't know if we have one that's that tight. Let's see right there. Oh, actually, I think this will work out really well. Yeah, that's pretty close. You see that's kind of rounded right there. Looks like the eye's kind of dropping back up into his eyelid there. So kind of look at how we had that one. Yeah, kind of like that. And just really light. Don't need too much. Just enough to give it that nice hard edge right there. Maybe a little more. Here we go. See how that eye kind of now gives it a little more 3D depth there, just by adding that little hard edge. We're going to darken this up a little bit from what it looks like and just blend it into that silver. All right, we're going to take the nose, and it's not too much of a highlight or a shadow right there, so I'm just going to be real careful. But I do need to distinguish between the cheek and the nose. Same thing here. Kind of just turn this corner. If you ever hear that little squeaking noise, that means your airbrush just got clogged. Every once in a while you hear it kind of scream at me. I paint with the crown cap off, exposing the needle there. Reason why I do that is because it's easy to be able to clean off your needle, and then you're able to actually see the paint flow out. If you have that crown cap on there, it's hard to see the needle and be able to see the paint actually coming straight out. So that's why I'm able to get a lot of detail, because having that cap off, you can kind of see what's going on. So most people that I know, that's the first thing they do is they pull that thing off. It does protect the needle, but it's kind of in the way when it comes to detailed work like this. And you can see I'm just kind of moving around. So I move from this eye to this eye. I'm not going to finish it up, and I'm just going to go down to the dark areas. You know, I may have darkened this mustache a little more than what I wanted to. That's fine, because I could have freehanded most of it. All I really needed was the edges. But it's, like I said, it's going to be fine because we're going to scratch back some of the hair and the details in this. Okay, you can see the bottom side of this nose right here, big shadow. So we have nothing right there right now. So I'll go ahead and just create that just by lightly creating a light shadow right there, and then just kind of bringing it fatter. Just paint what you see. Don't paint a nose. If you start painting what you think, it's not gonna look right. You just really got to paint the highlights and the shadows. I'm sorry, in this case, we're just painting the shadows and leaving the highlights. Doing this, I feel like this is on the Flake is a little more challenging than just a regular portrait, because it allows for less mistakes. Because really, you can only put the paint where it needs to go, and then you could pull it back a little bit. But over painting is something that, if you're new, it's really easy to overpaint. Okay, that's looking good. We got the nose kind of in there. It looks like we need to go a little bit higher up into here. Like, we're gonna do some more of this shadowing once we get the candy in there, and we're able to build up these soft layers in here. But all these little darker ones, we're going to manage them with a black base coat. We got the ear here, so we got the stencils that we laid out here for the couple of dark areas here, but we want to kind of work off of what we had there. Because what I'm painting now, it was too soft of a shadow in order to have a hard stencil line. So I kind of just, did the hardest lines. Like even up here in the ear, I was able to get that because there's some pretty thick hard lines there. All this is it's just kind of shadowed. So we're just gonna do it freehand. Okay, above the ear here, I feel like we can get back to our stencil. There we go. That one works perfect, as you can see that. So you see that fits right into that ear. Kind of work some of that hair up from that point. There we go. We got the top of the ear now. Nice.
Someone said, how long have you been airbrushing? It looks great.
I've been airbrushing for about 20 years, but it doesn't mean that it would take 20 years of practice to be able to do this. Really, you'd be able to do this as long as you're able to master the dagger stroke, which is like what I showed here. Being able to start and stop a line without doing this. You know what I mean? Let's see. Like that. Most people, when they start, it's going to look like this. You'll have the barbell effect here and here. But once you can start making lines like this that are nice and smooth and start and stop, and you have trigger control, you'll find this to be much, much easier just to have a little bit of that control of the airbrush. So get your practice in. Get the feel for the airbrush, push down for air, pull back for fluid. And really, I'm just rocking the trigger back and forth only about that far. At no point am I pulling all the way back. Maybe a little bit in the hat, because I knew we were going to go dark with that. But just really just rocking back and forth on it. Just little bursts, just like this. A dagger stroke's kind of like what a pencil stroke would look like, just by what do you call that? Cross hatching. A lot of this stuff. Like I actually use a cross hatching method when I'm painting in pigments, not like this. I'll build up texture by cross hatching. This, we don't have that that luxury, so we're just trying to put the paint where it goes. Okay, up here in the hair, you can see that the contrast between the hair and the hat, there's not a whole lot of contrast there. They're almost the same color. The hair is just a little lighter. So we want to make sure that we get that in there. So we're going to just kind of make the same strokes as the hair would go. Like one thing, we're not going to go this way. The hair really doesn't go that way. So we're trying to follow what the hair would naturally do.
How many red colors of pigment do you make?
Yeah, we actually only have one color of red pigment. It's just a bright red. You can also take like if you wanted to take red and you wanted to make it a brandy wine, all you'd have to do is put a little bit of blue in it. Or if you wanted to make purple, or you wanted to make a lighter red, or a pink, you could take red and put a little bit of white in it. So having those primary colors on hand and having white and black along with it, you're going to be able to do a lot as far as mixing up your own shades. Red? Oh, 90s red? Mm-hmm. 90s red is a pigment powder. So yes, that will make a base coat as well. But that's going to be more, that 90s red is going to be a little bit more on the pinkish side, to be honest.
And it's bright.
It's very, very bright, yes. Okay, kind of working my way around. So I will leave, a little bit of highlight up in here into the hair. But really, we need this to kind of come down, looks like.
Adam, what's the best way to blend a high edge from airbrush graphics?
I'm sorry? Was that a question?
Yeah. What's the best way to blend a high edge from airbrush graphics?
To blend it in once it's, oh yeah, so he's saying if you make a graphic and it creates a big edge. Especially if you have to lay another graphic over the top, it's best to clear it with 2K clear coat and then let it dry and then sand it smooth and then do your graphics over that. So yeah, paint edges, they are a pain sometimes. That's why it's best to keep the paint light. Do lighter coats and you'll get the job done faster. Faster with less material, less paint edge.
Do you just use regular red base coat for graphics if you want solid colors?
Yeah. Yep. I'll use that or the 90s red. Okay, looking good. We kind of got the shadow there. See this little tiny little hard line right here? I'm dripping all over this thing. Right here, I just want to get that in there a little bit. And the only way we can really do that is by hitting it with a stencil. That looks about like that. It's like up in the forehead right here. There we go. See how just the little hard lines mixed in with freehand really make a big difference. Okay, let's get in here into the lips. We can see here there's a pretty big shadow here that's created probably from his mustache, looks like. And then what I'm looking at is right here. You can see there's just a big shadow right there. It looks like his mustache is just casting a shadow onto the bottom of his cheek right there. Paint that in there. And then bring this lip out. Right there. And then I'm just going to lightly kind of shade in the lips, but not too much. We want to create some texture there. And we can do that once we're able to break out that eraser. Okay, that looks good right there. So the bottom of the lip, we're going to go ahead and follow where, what is that called? A Fu Manchu right there? Or what is that called? Under the lip. Is there a name for that? Hair. That is hair, sir.
What do you mean it's called hair?
No, there's like, you know, a Fu Manchu, or isn't that called something like that? I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to find the right shape here. Maybe this will have it right here on the top. Yeah, that works right there. We'll go with that.
Soul patch. Flavor.
Soul patch. There you go. That's is a flavor saver. Maybe it's a flavor saver. I don't know. But yeah, soul patch. That's the correct term there. We're about midway through. We can give away the first set of stencils. Actually, is what we're going to do. So if you want to hashtag LiME into the comments, that'll put you into the wheel. Put your name into the wheel. We spin that wheel, and if you win, all you got to do is send us an email. Let us know your address, and we'll get your prize out to you. Okay, see I'm shadowing right here on the bottom of the lip, or the top of the bottom of lip. But I want to make sure that I'm not getting anything into the teeth. So you see the little white teeth down at the bottom. We want to hit that and kind of blend down, but we want to make sure we keep those teeth nice and clean.
Are you ready for me to spin the wheel?
Yeah. All right, good luck, everybody. Okay, who we got? Jordan Nelson. Congrats. You won yourself the stencil pack. You won it before you can even buy it, so you'll have it. We're probably going to use a few of those, or at least one of them we're going to use here on the background tonight. Kind of following here on the bottom of the neck, just looking at these shadows right here. I may have made his neckline slightly fat. It's a little fatter than what's in the picture, but we'll be fine. This should have came up. To be honest, that line should have stopped right there, and it shouldn't have gone right there. But we'll live with it. No big deal. And it looks like that's the... And some of these, we really don't need all that much detail. All we're looking for is to make sure we put the shadows in the right spot. So all this is going to kind of be a little bit shadowed. We have some light spots there. We'll kind of draw those out where we think they are.
So we did go through a fat phase, so it
Yeah, maybe it's a... Is that an upgrade? I don't know. Okay, and then really light right here, because we got a really strong highlight right here, you can see. So everything on this side, super bright. Right here, we want to create that shadow in the cheek and keep that edge nice and bright. Just by working this, I mean, right now the eyes look pretty darker than they should be, but once we start working these in, that's, as you can see, they're starting to make sense now. So, don't be afraid that he went too dark, because once you start doing the rest, it'll all start to form and look like it all belongs.
someone could need a curve out on the handlebar mustache a little.
Oh yeah, right there, huh? Mm-hmm. Both, actually, both sides. Let's go ahead and do that. Get the airbrush doing what we want it to do. All right, we'll start doing some more detail to this once we get a little closer, and we can be able to scratch back some of those highlights. A little darker right here. There you go. You see right here, the bottom of the lip has some shadows that kind of come up right there. So we want to make sure we get those in there. It's pretty important. Getting there nice and close. The closer you get to the surface, the tighter and finer the details. Give that nice shade there. Okay. That lip is nice and bright on the bottom. Almost disappears up in here.
John said, Adam, that's looking amazing.
All right. Thank you, John. Get that ear. Okay, and then we're going to come up here. You can see how, so we got the eyebrow in there, but you can see it kind of just blends into the shadow right there. So it kind of comes up. I took a class about 15 years ago from a gal named
Shannon?
No, not Shannon.
Oh.
Her name was I'm trying to remember her first name. Osterly is her last name. I think it's Michelle Osterly. She's from I think she's from Finland. She's either from Finland or Iceland or one of those. Fantastic artist. I actually took a class in Texas that she was putting on years and years ago, and she always taught me a technique, or the whole class, a technique of, you know, finding shapes when you're freehanding, finding shapes and then drawing those shapes. So like, I don't know, you could take anything, like any kind of shadow, like that's hard on this one because the shadows aren't so detailed, but like she would find like, oh, that looks like a little bear. So she would like, oh, see the ear there and the other ear there. Or she'd say like, this looks like a bird, or anything that resembles that shape. And that's what she'll do. She'll replicate like a shape of a bird or whatever she sees there. So it's a way for her to kind of memorize the shape as you move it over. You know, so you can find a shape in the shape that you can kind of reference off in your head. Pretty neat technique. This one doesn't really, this one's hard because there's not a whole lot of really hard shadows, but more detailed pictures. I use that technique quite a bit. Sounds weird, but it actually works really good.
So how long do I have to practice to have that kind of control with my airbrush? Decade?
No, actually, I think what I was told is 90 hours of practice will get you to get the muscle memory in order to be able to function like that. Because it's not a natural thing to push down and pull back with your finger. It's like when you first start, it's like, it's weird. So there's nothing about being a natural about this at all. It's just about having the practice. And once you have practiced enough with these lines, circles, ladders, you know, squares, all those, just have fun with it. Just do shapes, and just practice on that. And then you will realize when you have the connection, because you'll start painting and you'll realize that you're not concentrating on your finger pulling back anymore. You're more or less looking at the shape. Your finger's doing what it needs to do. And it takes a minute for your muscle memory to be able to do that on automatic, but it will happen. So you just got to put the time in. I feel like this is way, way easier than if you were to pick up a pinstriping brush and try to learn how to pinstripe. You could master this skill way faster and way easier with less time and get results that look really good or decent along the way. This is obviously a more advanced technique here. We're painting a mural. This would be, especially on metal flake, it's going to be definitely more advanced. But there's other things that you can do along the way that still helps you with the coordination and the muscle memory. You can still do work. You know, I mean, if you're still following lines like on a panel job and you're following the tape, rock the trigger back and forth and follow the lines. Always practice doing that and pulling your finger back, because you could easily, when you're doing panel paint, you could just not even worry about it. Push down, pull back, and follow it. That's fine. But as you get going, realize that while you're painting your panel jobs and doing these other techniques that are a lot easier and more of beginner techniques, still try to implement the airbrush like it should be used. You know, push down, pull back, and rock the trigger. Because when I'm filling stuff in, that's basically what I'm doing. And you see, I'm not just doing that. You know, rocking that trigger. So practice that. That'll help you out a lot, just by doing that, and it'll speed up that muscle memory. But yeah, 90 hours is what I was told. I don't know if it was 90 hours for me or what, but before I even had that muscle memory, I was already doing paint jobs for people. I wasn't doing murals, but I was doing paint jobs.
Well, sir, you're definitely nailing this. You are the Huckleberry tonight.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. I was a little worried, and we're not done yet, so you know, hopefully I can turn this thing out a little better.
Excellent tip for visualization. This is why I'm here.
All right. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoy this, and that's why I'm here.
Well, I have muscle memory of an epileptic on crack. My airbrushing looks like I'm trying to sell all the purpose.
Yeah, you just need a little more time. I mean, if you're first picking up an airbrush, this wouldn't be the first thing you would attempt. Okay, so I'm going to darken up in these pupils right here because I'm getting ready to pull out the razor blade. We need some more shadows up under this nostril, but you can see here we want to keep a highlight right underneath the bottom of that nostril. Those are very, very important. It doesn't really show it too much. It doesn't really show it too much in the picture, but what I know is keeping that nice and bright, you're not going to lose that detail. Got a little shadow there. So yeah, like that's like a little bird. You can see right there, like that's the bird head, and the wings are kind of spreading out. That's exactly what I was kind of talking about. Is you can visualize things in your head and then try to replicate them. Yeah, I think we're just about there. We can start pulling back our first highlights here. Okay, let's do it. So a couple different, I don't know if we'll be using this particular fiberglass tool or not, but you can find these on Amazon. We do have electric eraser. We use that, and then we do have an X-Acto blade if it's somewhere. Oh, where did I put that sucker? Oh, here it is. Go ahead and put a new blade in it. Okay. So the blade works really well for hair. Like here in the mustache, you can see right here, you can see where there's kind of fine hairs right there. But what we're looking at is it's kind of just like blacked out. But if we can pull some of that back, we can create the detail with the blade. Not everywhere, just kind of where you see it. I think it's mostly on that side. And then right here where it kind of curls around. When it comes to hair, you can kind of do what you want. You still want to follow the reference, but hair would be kind of the one thing that you'd kind of paint what you know a little more than painting what you see. But like when it comes to lips and eyes and stuff like that, you really just want to pay attention to what the reference is telling you. I'm going to put some texture into the lips right here. Definitely could have gone a little darker on that bottom lip because you really can't see too much of the contrast here when I scrape it, but there's enough to see a little bit.
Here says use a fiber pen, you will like it.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty fat for what I'm doing here, but I will give it a shot. Like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of portraits on metal flake. So like I said, I'm still a little new to painting like this. I've always just been so used to using regular pigmented paints and building up textures and stuff like that. But yeah, you can see there that put in a lot of nice texture. Are you able to see that? Okay. See how that just kind of scratched back those hairs. And then let's see. We'll go ahead and use the fiberglass pen. Let's see how that works. We'll go ahead and brighten up this area. Pull it down a little more aggressive. See if we can brighten up those areas. Okay, yeah, that's working pretty good.
B. Brown said, I appreciate everything you guys do, Ashley and Adam.
Thank you. Yeah, send me, if you can't find those spinner pads, send me a message. I'll get you taken care of. See, I'm just using the blade right there because if you look, there's a highlight right here that we need to make sure that we're going to pull out. It's really thin, so I'm going to use the blade and try not to make it look too scratched looking. I could try this too. Let's see, this might be a little too aggressive. That worked okay. Not that great. Let's try it since we have the tool in our hand. Let's try to get those highlights. See the highlight right here in the eye? Maybe you don't. The highlight in the eye, just the little circle right there. We're going to do the same thing. Yeah, that didn't work out all that great. Let me try pulling this out a little farther. Kind of brought it up a little bit. Let's try some other techniques here. First, go ahead, like in the iris right there. Like normal, you would see just some texture. So we'll just kind of bring that texture in right here.
You bumped it, now it's like trying to...
Oh, now it's trying to... Here, let me reset this real quick. Okay, we good? No?
Oh, maybe he's trying to. Weird, fuzzy. It's weird.
We good though? Yeah, looks good on this side. Okay, just gonna put some detail under this eye. And then we do have the white part of the eye needs to come back. You see how we don't have that? We're gonna.
Eric says he's gonna do a true fire job this weekend.
Oh, right on. I love doing those. See, I kind of pulled back that white right there. It's very important that we needed that. And then same thing here. Let me try the fiberglass pen right there because I feel like
all those guys are in the line of the tornadoes and stuff we had to go around last night.
Oh, really?
They said it hasn't stopped raining there, and it's raining so bad that the trees are lifting up because the ground's so wet. Got bad weather.
Wow. Yeah, we did have to take quite the detour the other day.
Last night.
Yep. Yeah, we're only running on a couple of cylinders because we just got off a long flight from Germany. Can you see I kind of brighten that up too? That's actually needs to be a lot brighter. But that's about as bright as we're going to get it because we're just going down to the color. Get that bright, so brighten that up. Let's go in here and we'll.
John on here says, I'm in Ireland and seeing you all talking about the weather sounds apocalyptic. What's going on over there?
Yeah. What the heck, huh?
He's the one that should be having this kind of weather. It's all kinds of, who knows what's going on here with the weather lately. It's crazy.
That is true. Okay, we'll try the fiberglass pen. See on the bottom of this, we're going to try to just see if we can brighten some of that up. Yeah, it's creating some texture there. That's what we need. Just kind of the brighter spots. Okay, let's try right here too. We'll just, there we go, lighten that up right there. I think that's the ticket, going back and forth like that. I feel like that works a lot better. And we'll put a little bit of texture on the cheek here. He has like some sweat and stuff, but we're not going to get that detailed with this, but we are going to kind of just give it some texture. Not a whole lot. You can see us just kind of brightening those little blotchy areas up. Yeah, back and forth, back and forth. I think that's the ticket. On the cheek here. Okay. All right, let's do a little more shadowing. We'll kind of come in here. Let's see if we can. Because I need these. I really want to get these holes in here, and I've already painted it in. So I don't know if this is going to be enough to pull these back. I think it is going to work here. I'm just going to use the stencil. There we go. Here, that gives us our placement, where those need to be. Okay. So far, so good. We're going to go ahead and darken this up a little bit more. The darker we go with this, we don't want it too dark, but the darker we go with this, the more contrast we're going to have between the lights and the darks here. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to a candy black. So the candy black's a little different. It is transparent. It's going to take more paint in order to get the job done, which is fine. And it's also, you can see it's nice and black, but it's transparent. So we're going to be able to see the sparkle through it. So I'm going to be able to do more of like a wash on this. We'll go ahead and pull back our highlights for the final time. Try to get this a little darker in here so these pupils and the highlights have more contrast is basically what we're looking for. We'll clean out the airbrush. Okay, see no leak.
To throw a little thin white at it would really make the highlights pop.
Yeah, I think that you're right about that. And we'll see. We can do that at the very end. We absolutely can do that. Okay, we're going to blend this in a little bit more. So darker in here. And basically, I'm just, once again, just kind of painting what I see. We're going to darken it all up. Keep that nice and bright right there on the edge of the cheek for sure. Darken up around here. You can see the airbrush is about like 4 to 5 inches away, because I'm just being real soft with it, not laying down too much paint. Seeing that this is transparent, we're able to lay out a little more paint and still keep the sparkle. Get that darker around the eyes. Make sure the airbrush is spraying good. I always like to check the airbrush when I'm in highly detailed areas, like around the eye. Give it a couple of strokes to make sure that everything's spraying the way it should be. And the ear looks like use quite a bit more up in there. Connect that up. The earlobe. Nice dark shadow up under here. Contrast is really the key here, is we want to get things darkened up. So that there's enough dark in there to when we lighten these up, we bring a little bit of, we won't put any Yeah, I wouldn't definitely wouldn't put any white in the eyeballs. The only thing I would, if I was to do white, it would be like the dots of the eye and maybe the top of the lip. But you know, trying to airbrush white on this and fill up any areas, I feel like, you know, even though I haven't done a whole lot, I feel like that would be a mistake. I mean, that'd be fine if we're doing this the conventional way, but since we're spraying on flake, it's a little different. I'll make sure I get this lip dark enough that where I can pull up, I can scratch out this nice heavy highlight right there. I think my lid might be clogged. There we go. And really, the slower you go at this, and the more you build it up, the better it's going to look. Obviously, we're on a time frame here, so I'm going to do it just as good as I need to get the idea across.
I'm one of your goal leaf kid. I just see your videos and knowledge has helped me so much starting out. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for ordering that. Yep. You'll find that if you're already a custom painter, you'll find that the gold leaf kit that we have, and if you have never started, or if you've tried the conventional way with the glues and the brushes, give our method a shot. You know, let's see if you can do it again. You know, I spent years not being able to do leaf until I pretty much I had to do what I had to do in order to make it work for me, which is I had to be able to put the glue in the airbrush and spray out the glue. I wasn't able to get the glue to lay out smooth enough in order for the leaf to look good. There'd always be like debris that like falls in it. You know, I wouldn't get the timing right. It takes like 20 to 25 minutes for the leaf glue to dry, and then, you know, there's just a lot of different stuff. So, you know, we found a different method, and it works pretty good for us, and it works really good for other people, as I can see too. So yeah, appreciate that. If you haven't tried the leafing from LiME, give it a shot. Okay, I think we've just about got this dark enough. I'll darken this up under here a little bit. Nope. Nah, I'll stick with this. I'm going to kind of just paint over the existing, because since I'm painting over this with a transparent black, you see I'm able to push all those hair scratches back a little farther. When I mean by pushing them back, I made them a little bit darker, and then I can come back and scratch again, and it's going to make more of a texture. So the nice thing about the candy is, even though we're covering a lot of this, it's the what we've done before with the texture is still going to show through. We're not getting rid of anything that we're doing. We're just kind of milding it out a little bit, if you will. But yeah, we're getting pretty close to being dark enough. Let me get underneath this eye.
Yeah, this is Bolt. I have an important question. I have a gas tank that the gasket leaks under paint. Can I sand and I tape off?
So the fuel got underneath the paint and lifted it. So yeah, what you'd want to do is sand it so it's smooth. So the transition between the metal and where it all came off and where the paint goes, you would need to sand it smooth so you can't feel the transition. Blend it in. So however far you got to sand it in order to make sure to blend smooth, and then you can tape off the fuel spout and then repaint. you can repair that, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna give it just a light, kind of a blend, and I think we're. Yes, they do have. They may have one bigger for their trigger airbrush. Okay, let's pull some of this back.
On the gas tank, can I tape off as if I'm doing a graphic? Same guy that asked about the
You blend into the original color if you're looking to, but if you're wanting to put a graphic there, you could basically. But it's not really going to work with a hard edge. So what you want to do is, say if it's black and it's pilling up around the fuel spout, right here, you would sand it to where you can't fill the edge, and then you would take primer, spray can primer or regular primer, prime just that area right there, and sand out smooth, and then you could hit it with, say, the black if it is black base, and then you would blend it into the original color, if that makes sense. Or you would just paint the rest of that color. You'd paint the whole tank. You possibly would be the other way to do it. All right, I'm going to go ahead, and this top lip right here has a really bright shadow, so we're going to go ahead and pull that back as smooth as possible. Oh, that's going to be it right there. No more than that. Having that nice bright shadow or bright highlight on the top of that will make a big difference. And then just bringing some texture into the lips again. Take the teeth, just give them little highlights. And then we'll grab our pen, and we will, let's brighten up the bottom of this lip. See how that looks. Kind of just go back and forth between tools. Put a highlight right on the bottom of this, just a little bit. You see how all these highlights in the eyes are going to look much better because we've got enough contrast there now to be able to bring them out. Before, there really wasn't as much. Got one there. Let's see if we can get this thing in here tight enough to be able to clean up that white of that eye right there. There we go. Yeah, that seems like that's working. So we're bringing that white right back, and that's what we need. We can't paint white back in there, but we can pull it back using techniques like this. do another one right here. And then the white in this needs to be pulled back. That's not too much there. You can see it's actually still pretty dark on that side of the eye, but mostly right here.
Will you be clearing this on the live?
No, I won't clear this tonight because there'll be more to do to finish this up. But if I was, I would just use a can of double shot, really, just like we did on the last one last week.
Thank you so much. You're the man. I just opened a paint shop. This is my first repair request, so thanks for insight. I would like to send you the pics of the 2 bikes. I'll be doing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, send them over. I'd love to see them. Yeah, I'd love to see your guys' paint work. Also, we do have a affiliate link that's on the LiME website. That allows you to create discount codes, and you're able to get a kickback on anybody that uses that code, including yourself, to your PayPal account. So if you're interested in making some side cash and showing people how to paint, that's a great way to give out those codes, and you can make a little bit extra money on the side. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to do see right here on the edge, there's just a really bright highlight. And in fact, I might actually leave that because I'm going to pull this and then we're going to create the background. So I might just leave that and I'll put the highlight on the other side of that. This one we can kind of, I don't want it to look too scratched. I want to be real careful, but just pulling back a little highlight right here. This is kind of where the highlight starts. And then let's see if we can lighten up a couple areas here. Once again, because around here, see there's a couple of the fiberglass pin works good for light areas. I haven't used it in quite a while. Lighten this up here a little bit. Create a little bit of texture. Same thing here, just being really light with it and pulling back. A little bit of highlights in the cheek.
Brown said he still can't find those spinners. Is it on the shelf?
It should be. I'll tell him to send me a message. I'll get with him, and then I'll get that fixed too. I think E Brown's actually, is E Brown doing a giveaway right now? Yeah, if anybody's interested in, I don't know, I could be wrong, but maybe he'll confirm. But yeah, I think he's doing a giveaway lowbrow tank, painted the way you want, if I remember seeing that right. But yeah, if he is interested in that, check out his paint giveaway he's doing. Okay, I'm going to pull back these highlights right on the nose right here. Like I said, I could really go at this for a while longer. We're going to call it quits here soon. But really, you could just keep going back and forth, brightening up areas and darkening them up where they need be, and just creating the contrast, really. Maybe we'll bring a little bit of texture up in here.
Brown sent you a message on Instagram.
Okay, great. I'll check that.
E. Brown said not him.
Oh, it's not him? Okay. Huh, so I was wrong. Okay. Could go more highlights in here. So you can see how we can just keep going at it, you know. Creating these highlights in the cheek. A little bit brighter up here. And these little spots here, we can put those in by
Brown said, I will one day. I'm getting a whole lot better.
Yeah, you are. Okay, okay. Low power mode. There we
I'm going to go to sleep and dream
Yeah.
about Val Kilmer, I think.
go. Okay, not too bad. Let's go ahead and pull this off and we'll see. Don't forget, we got that last giveaway that's going to be coming up. Somebody will be winning the set of oh, we already gave those away actually. You'll be winning the vinyl here and the transfer paper. So let's go ahead and we'll pull off the transfer.
Fantastic job, Adam. Great work, sir.
Yeah, not too bad. No residue. That's great. That's what we're looking for. And then we're going to do a background on this. Won't take us too long. Looks like I could have darkened that up a little more. I'm going to go ahead and hit that with the airbrush. I kind of missed this edge right here. There, it's a little better. Let's see that edge. Doesn't completely disappear. Let's all right, let's go and put a background on this. I'm going to switch back to the black base coat. And then I think I decided I'm going to go ahead and go with this guy. So what I'll do is I'll grab our dude here. And we'll go ahead and tape. Make sure we got this in the right spot. I'm going to tape this up, but it's not going to be in the same exact spot because I want a little bit of a highlight. I want this little bit of a highlight right there. This is what I'm hoping. So I'll go ahead and stick this on there. Just move it over just a tiny bit. Hopefully that's enough to keep in this spot. Yeah, that should do it. Okay. I'm going to take that. We're going to protect that area. I'm going to go ahead and take the top of that. Go ahead and tape that down as well. There we go. Can't grab it. Whoops. And then, do I still have that piece? I think it's right here. Yep. That's why we save these pieces, because we can go back and reuse them as we need. There we go. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and set this thing out, and we'll put black back into the airbrush. Okay. Got black back in the airbrush. Make sure it's spraying good. That'll work. All right, let's put it right there. And I'm just going to kind of go over the edges. I'm not really going to aim for the inside of the stencil. I'm just going to kind of follow the stencil and let the overspray do the work. And this set of stencils will be online sometime this weekend or next week. I think there's how many stencils are in this pack, babe? 9 of them. Yeah, it's going to be around $15 or so. The overspray do the work. I'm just aiming for the stencil itself. And let the overspray create the blends. Okay, I think I got it here. Let's check it out, make sure before I move it. Oh yeah, that'll work. That's plenty dark enough. And then I'm going to take and shadow the whole side of the face and the shoulder right there. Nice big shadow right there. Do the same thing here. Yeah, that was a pretty good background. Feel like that works. Okay, we'll put this off to the side, and we'll see how this thing looks. Okay. All right, that's it right there. Obviously, I could do more work to this thing, but not too bad for 2 hours, really. We got that laid out pretty quick. I probably would have been a little softer with the first go around with black, and then built it up a little bit darker than this. But hey, not bad. Once this is clear coated, all that sparkle is going to come back. This will look really cool. But yeah, if you want to, anybody want to hashtag LiME into the comments, we're going to give away the new stencils that we have. Right there, right here. So we have the removable vinyl and the transfer paper. We didn't use a transfer paper tonight, but we did use that removable vinyl. No residue left. It's great for stencils. And once again, this is 13 inches, so it goes straight into your Cricut cutter without a mat. You can see the 12 inches here. 13 inches is going to go straight into that. So works really nice, seamless with the Cricut Maker 3. And but yeah, that's what there it is. We'll go ahead and we'll do that last spin real quick.
So they said, looks badass and not too bad, Adam. She's bloody amazing.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Not bad for 2 hours.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, let's do it. David Cortez, you won it. You won the both the stencils here. We'll get those shipped off to you. I'm not hashtag. You already did that. Just send us an email to info@limelinepaintsupply.com. Let us know you won. Give us your address, and we'll get you taken care of. But if not, you guys look out for this stuff. It'll come in a combo pack. You also buy it by itself as well. They'll be available on Amazon, eBay, Walmart, and the our LimelinePaintSupply.com website. So you'll find it all there. But that's it, guys. Appreciate you being here. Next Thursday, we'll be here as always, 7 o'clock p.m. California time. And with something new. It is my birthday?
Yep.
Okay, we're live on my birthday, I guess. Sounds good. Maybe I get to paint what I want, huh?
Your birthday. Do what you
my
want.
birthday. All right. Well, next week's going to be a good one. We're going to give away a lot of stuff for the birthday. So, okay, that's it, guys. Hey, I hope you learned something. I know I learned a few things about this. I haven't done this style in a long time. Only done it a couple of times. So it's a little bit different for me as well. But yeah, I got this knocked out. I think we're good. So appreciate you guys being here. See you on the next one.
Bye, guys.